Good evening. Just about 6 o'clock here on the East Coast. I'm going to be going for another Immaculate grid. Hopefully, I can get it all right this time and chasing that ultra low rarity score. About an hour away from Brewers baseball returning, so real excited to see us go for a share of first place against the Cincinnati Reds. So I screwed up yesterday. I had Willie Banks. And I was so sure of it too. I was like, this guy was an inaugural Rocky and he was an inaugural Diamondback. And in this case, he was had played with the Tigers and then had gone over the Diamondbacks their first season. And that was a true statement, but not about Willie Banks. It was a true story about Willie Blair. Willie Banks came over to the Diamondbacks from the Yankees during that 98 season. So it means he got traded away from one of the best teams of all time. And so I must have, my 9-year-old brain must have fused those two individuals in my head somehow. And that's how I came up with that wrong answer. Otherwise, I would have been, sub 30 probably yesterday. But, shake it off. And, I'm glad I went for it. In any event, going to try again for today. This episode, once again, is brought to you by my book, because who else is going to sponsor this? It's called Baseball's Most Fun Frivolities, and it's on Amazon. I'll have a link in the description below. So, going to start sharing my screen here and start playing. Let's get a refresh. All right, Pirates and Braves. It's a nice little we got a nice little reunion of early 90s playoff teams. Got the 1990 world champion Reds, 91, 92 NL champion Braves, 91, 92 and 90 playoff losing Pirates, and the 92, 93 world champion Blue Jays. So these teams are all linked together. 300 batting average. I should hopefully be able to swing that. And then Hall of Fame. So interesting combination here. Um, and yeah, where to start? I think I have a good one for this one. It's a pretty good one. I'm gonna select Frank Thomas, but not that Frank Thomas. That Frank Thomas would be wrong. I'm gonna select this Frank Thomas from the 50s and 60s because I know he played for both teams. Milwaukee Braves specifically, as well as the Pirates. I write about him in my book. Said R.I.P. Frank Thomas, but not that Frank Thomas. He was a two-time All-Star though. 0.3%. All right. And then moving on down, we've got Pirates and Reds. A big one that comes to mind um is Dave Parker played for both teams. I think that'll, even though he played in the 70s and 80s, I think that'll draw a fair share. Um, who else works? Is my guy, Reggie Sanders. He played for both teams. 2%. I think there's 2% of people who've caught on to the fact that Reggie Sanders played for a bunch of teams and they just have him ready to go. So maybe that one isn't going to get those super low. Like when some people are like 0.006% or something, I don't think Reggie Sanders is going to get that. I think Immaculate Grid's been going for too long for that to be a realistic possibility here. Um, all right, so yeah, Blue Jays and Braves. I have a good one there. I'll also talk about them in my book a little bit, and I am going to go for it. And that would be Doyle Alexander, who was traded for John Smoltz, famously. It's considered a terrible trade, but in my book, I argue, was it though? That's anyway, he was traded from the Braves away. I think he played for the Blue Jays in the couple seasons preceding that. 0.9%. Blue Jays, Reds. Scott Rowland did play for both teams. Hall of Famer Scott Rowland. Um, is he's getting inducted? Is it this weekend or next weekend? Yeah. So better known with the Phillies and the Cardinals, but he did play for both of these teams. So I'm going to keep that one in my back pocket. I think it'll do single digits, but it's recent enough and he's a prominent enough player, Hall of Famer, obviously. So I don't know if it'll be, I think it would do single digits, but it might be like 6, 7, 8%, something like that. So I can probably do better. Let's see. Let's just go. Let's go to some Hall of Famers. Um, Hall of Fame, and if I remember right, I'm not gonna like maybe it's in the rules, but um, I believe it can't. Well, maybe I can verify with the rules. Here's what I'm why I'm bringing this up. So before I started recording, but it was probably Immaculate Grid 80 something. There was a category for Hall of Fame and the Brewers were one of the teams, and I'm obviously here rocking my Milwaukee Brewer Hawaiian shirt, and I was just like, I got this. Everyone's gonna say Robin Yount or Paul Molitor. Some people remember Henry Aaron. Some people might even remember Raleigh Fingers. But I'm gonna get Don Sutton. I'm gonna get Don Sutton because he played for the Brewers for 3 years and he is in the Hall of Fame. And that was wrong. Um, as I recall, is wrong. So I don't think you can just be with them. This just says Hall of Famers can be inducted from any category, but must have played a major league game, though. So I don't. But my whole contention here is I don't know if you need to actually be wearing the ball cap of the team on here or not. For the Blue Jays, I think it's just Roberto Alomar. In fact, there's probably we can just try it, and if I lose, I lose. But I think it's just Roberto Alomar actually has his cap. I know Halladay. I was at his induction ceremony, and he went in with no cap. He went in as a Philly, or both the Phillies and the Blue Jays effectively, but no cap. Um, let's see. There's Yeah, I mean, I could go with if I'm just going for people who are in the Hall of Fame and had time with the Toronto Blue Jays. Um, trying to remember Phil Niekro was a Blue Jay, but I'm not sure about that one, but I'm very sure, but I'm positive, even wrote about him, about Dave Winfield. He's not in the Hall of Fame as Blue Jay. He's in the Hall of Fame as a Padre, which is a separate controversy. I'm just going to see if it works, at least for posterity's sake. So if I get it wrong, I'll just go Roberto Alomar and move on with my life. Okay, so it is, you do just have to appear. So I wonder what happened when Don said, maybe I clicked the wrong box, or maybe the rules changed. Who knows? Um, but all right, that means just anybody who's ever appeared with the Pirates um would work there. So I'll keep that in mind. Obviously, there's some obvious ones: Honus Wagner, Paul Wainer. How about Archie Vaughn? I don't think a lot of people are going to get that. Okay, cool. Archie Vaughn is a top 5 all-time shortstop, but not even the best shortstop for his team because Honus Wagner. But yeah, just want to go with him there. So that worked out pretty well. All right, now we just need some people with 300 batting averages, and we need someone who's in the Hall of Fame and at any point had a 300 average. That just seems like a lot of people are just going to split a lot of. Oh, okay. You know what? I know what I'm going to go with for this one. I know who I'm going to go with. It's be a qualified 300 season. That's important. Actually, I wonder if Negro League seasons will count. I'm pretty sure they will because Baseball Reference, like it's qualified seasons are qualified seasons. So, um, but no, I still think this is actually going to be a little bit more obscure. The player's not obscure; he's in the Hall of Fame. But I wrote about this in actually I'll just bring up one. Yep. Okay. So Heavy Johnson, he had, I think, the most plate appearances by a player with a 400 average, um, in Negro League history. I think in 1923 or so. And he maintained north of a 400 batting average for like a 2 to 3 year span. So that would work. In fact, let's do it. Nope, they didn't like it. They didn't like it. That's weak. All right, I should have just gone with who I wanted to. Reggie Jackson with 0.03%. Oh, I'm so mad. Well, I'm obviously not that mad, but I don't know. I just wanted to see it, but I wonder what the nuances are because I mean that those were qualified seasons. Oh, is he not in the Hall of Fame? I probably should have thought about that twice. Probably should be then. Anyway, I'm gonna look that one up because that's an interesting one. Anyway, Reggie Jackson hit exactly 300 one time. And I wrote about it in my book because it's actually if you go to Wikipedia, spoiler alert for the book, but if you go to Wikipedia, Reggie Jackson is the face sort of batting average. Like the Wikipedia article for batting average features Reggie Jackson, but he had one season where he hit 300. Oh, and I can't believe I missed it. Well, I'll try to go as obscure as possible. I did have Scott Rowland here. There might be a better one. Um, but let's knock out these two. Feeling kind of dumb. I should have realized like I was not 100% sure on Heavy Johnson being in the Hall of Fame, but um I'll look that up and I'll try to figure out the nuance involved there. It might just be that it's not in the Hall of Fame. Anyway, 300 average from Atlanta Brave or Milwaukee Brave or a Boston Brave. Um, let's see. It's a good sort of obscure one that I could use. How many people are gonna remember Marcus Giles? He had a weirdly good 2003 season. A little under 1%. And then let's see. I can't believe this is the easiest one too. Oh man, I got too cocky. I should have been that cocky one day after missing it, so I'm gonna miss it 2 days in a row. All right. Any Cincinnati Red with a 300 or better batting average. See, Pete Rose is going to take a fair amount. Joe Morgan will take a fair amount. I know. I think both Ken Griffey's did it. I'm gonna go with his dad though. 1%. All right. So I was at a rarity score of 10. Um, I'll be interested to see what that one was. All right. So let's just find out here. Obviously, I could have gotten somebody here. Is Heavy Johnson not? Oh, thing. Oops. Spells name right, John. He's not. I guess his career was really short, but he had a 406 average. Look at this is basically a full season, and he hit 406 with 184 RBI. Not in the Hall of Fame. Someone should fix that. Even though it was a shorter career, someone should fix that. So I could be right. But just to clarify, um, yeah, Josh Gibson's on. Yeah, so I knew that one, and Cool Papa Bell's on there. So those would have worked. Um, but I wanted to plug that portion for Heavy Johnson because I do include it just very briefly in my book when I'm talking about how hard it is to actually hit 400. But anyway, on that, I'll be curious to see what how Scott Rowland would have played. A lot of pretty good Yeah, Dave Parker, I think, is been of an obvious one. Ooh, David Wells played for both teams. I think I did know that, and that would have been a good one to go with. Ditto, there's Scott Rowland. Did not know Ruben Sierra played for either team. Did not know Frank Viola played for either team. Cy Young winner. I'm seeing a lot of familiar names. I just didn't know Tony Fernandez. Oh yeah, Tony Fernandez with Blue Jays, obviously. I didn't know Tony Fernandez was a Red. All right. Well, I'm not going to go through all of them. I've once again failed. I'll try to do better. I was, like I said, if Edwin Encarnacion was by far the highest. So I maintain Scott Rowland would have worked here, and I probably would have had a score of about 20, but or maybe like 15. But that's my mistake. 97% of people got this. I tried to pay homage to Heavy Johnson, and turns out he's not in the Hall of Fame, but I hope he will be someday. That's it. Looking forward to playing this again and hopefully doing bad. This is 3 bad games in a row, so a little bit of a bad streak going here. I'll have to snap out of it on Saturday. So thanks a lot. I'll include the link so you can play along, and have a great night. Baseball's back, baby.